Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Porn Star Confessions. Today I've got Matthew Figata. Welcome.
Hey, Jason.
So, what made you pick Matthew as opposed to Matt?
Actually, Matthew is my real middle name.
Uh,
So, yeah, I mean, I just like it. It's like, one syllable names tend to be boring.
okay, all right, fair enough. I asked that because my real name's Matt and I go by Matt. If someone calls me Matthew, I'm just like, what? I don't know.
I mean,
But
I'll answer Matt, so it doesn't bother me. So,
okay. So, how did you first get started in this industry?
um, I've always been kind of an exhibitionist,
Okay.
uh, and I started posting stuff on Tumblr ages,
Oh,
ages ago. And then when Tumblr did their porn ban, which is funny because I never deleted the Tumblr app. I just never used it for like a couple of years. And when I went back to it not long ago, there's all kinds of porn on Tumblr. Oh yes, there's tons of porn on Tumblr. So I don't know what the porn. I mean, it's hard to post it, new stuff, but you can, and you can repost all kinds of other porn. But anyway, so when Tumblr did their porn ban, I thought, well, I have all these photos I take of myself, and I want to post them somewhere. So I started posting them on Twitter because I had a Twitter forever, but I never really used it.
yeah.
And then I would get people message me saying, "Oh, why don't you do an OnlyFans or a Just for Fans?" And I finally started doing that just for photos initially. And I thought, if anyone subscribes, fine. If not, I don't care. And then I started getting some subscribers, and then I started doing, like solo videos, and then it just kind of mushroomed in after that, really. So yeah.
Okay, so it was never like you never had the thought when you were younger, man, I want to be a porn star one day.
No, I never did. In fact, I kind of wish now that I had started when I was younger. So but then again, the industry was entirely different then too. So, um, but no, I never really thought I would do it. People would ask me to do it, and I thought, oh, come on, that's not me. I just no, I
No.
couldn't do it. And I think what happened was people other performers started contacting me and wanted to do collabs, and I'm like, sure, I'll do a collab. And I think like the biggest collaborator I had early on was Cage Jock, and we filmed together in New York. And I had mentioned to him, I said, I wonder, should I do studio porn? No, he said, don't do studio porn. He goes, "No, not ever do it studio porn, but just don't do it until you've established what your brand is." Which I think that made sense, right? Because at the time I really didn't know what my brand was. And then what happened was I saw an ad somewhere, I don't know where it was, for auditioning as to do porn. And I thought, okay, I'll fill out the application, send the photos in, and see what happens, right? And I got contacted a few days later, and it was from a producer, a director in Atlanta, and he messaged me and says, "Hey, we'll fly you down to Atlanta. I'll get you 3 scenes." Blah, blah. And I'm like, well, let me think about this, right? And I thought about it for a day, and I thought, well, if I don't do it, I'm going to regret it. So let me just do it. If I don't like it, what's the harm, right? By the way, at the same time I was doing this, I had my other regular job. So I did it, and I loved it. The first scene I ever shot was with Johnny Rapid.
Oh wow.
So that was kind of like being thrown into the fire.
Okay. Wow. That so where did
Actually, the
your
third scene I ever shot was with Michael Boston, who I adore. Michael
yeah,
Boston's awesome. So,
yeah, no, he's awesome. I shot with him before in Fort Lauderdale actually. So where did the whole exhibitionist thing come from?
that's a great question because um, I had a boyfriend in the maybe about 20 years ago who was from Italy. He was both a dentist and a model. He had modeled. He lived in Milan, and he modeled for Dolce Gabbana and Armani and all that stuff. Only in Italy could you be a dentist and a model, right? So, he was an exhibit. I mean, the Italians, when they're 5 years old, their parents take them to Formentera and and they're always naked at the beach and everything, right? So he would take we end up living in Miami together, and he would take me to Oliver Beach, And so, we would go to the nude beach in Oliver, and I would do the typical, arrive in the beach, you put the towel down, take the shorts off, lay on the towel, right? And then if I had to go in the water, run to the water, run back out, right? So he wasn't going to have any of that. So he made me do like a parade, like a walk around the perimeter of the beach. And after we did this for like, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes, I'm like, what's the big deal,
Okay.
So yeah, it was kind of like, it was free, really. So
Okay. And just stuck with you ever since.
yeah, I like my body. I work really hard on my body. And, if I go to the gym and I wear a tank top or short shorts or that kind of thing, I'm showing it off. So
Yeah.
why not show off all of it, right? And
Okay.
if you don't want to see it, you don't have to look. And if you want to see it, well, okay, fine. So,
Okay. So, how old are you?
I'm old. I'm I'm older than 50. So can we just say that?
Oh shit. Okay. Because I knew you were
I just like
older,
to keep
but I
I like
knew
to keep a
your
low.
physique did not match your age. That I knew.
What's that?
I knew you were older, but I knew your physique was not representative of your
Yeah, I
age
kind of like
at
to keep
all.
it a mystery because it's like let people guess.
Okay. All right.
It's, life is a fantasy. Porn is a fantasy. I'll be any age you want me to be. So,
Okay. So one thing that I think really stands out about you and is where in God's name do you get your fashion sense from? Like, cause you wear very loud
really?
clothes and outfits.
um, I don't know. I remember a quote from Boy George back in the '80s when someone asked him why he was dressing the way he was, and his response was, "I don't want to look like a piece of paper." And why not stand out? It's like if people want to look at me good.
Oh,
It's like in other words, I don't want to be boring because in my real life, I am boring. I'm an introvert. I know it's because I'm talking a lot now. It doesn't sound like I am, but in real life, I'm an introvert. I'm happy to just sit home and read a book or whatever. Um, so that if I do go out, the last thing I want to be is boring because I'm boring all the rest of my life.
uh, so if you don't mind me asking, what is your regular job?
No, this is my regular job now.
Well, what did it used to be?
I used to be a swim coach.
Swim coach.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
How in God's name do you become a swim coach?
Let me see. I went to school for English, and then I got a master's degree in advertising. And while I was in between two graduate schools at the time. I left one graduate school and I was waiting to get admitted to another one. And a really good friend of mine was a swim coach, and I was kind of bored. By the way, I was lifeguarding at the time, so. And I said, "Hey, do you need an assistant?" He goes, "Sure, yeah. I can't afford to pay anything, but I'll use an assistant." I'm like, "Okay, I got time to kill. I'll do it." So I became his assistant, and it was just so much fun. And then after I got done with grad school, the job opened up, and I thought, I'm just going to do this for a couple of years, and just I want to see if I can do this, if I'd be good at it. And I actually was really good at it. I was so good at it that I said, I'm going to keep doing this. I loved it. Yeah. I had Olympic trial qualifiers. I had state championships. I was named coach of the year like 3 times. So I was actually named president of the Coaches Association for the state. So I was like really good at it. So yeah.
Damn. Yeah, they don't make men or women like you anymore as far as like your no, but it like I'm being serious because it's like that like when you're can I be your assistant? Yeah, well I can't afford to pay you though. But like your generation's like the idea that they're willing to do something for free or willing to start and eat shit for a while because that just doesn't seem to exist anymore.
Well, but the reason is though, in those days, things were a lot cheaper. You know,
No.
for example, when I went to school, I went to college. My dad had died when I was like 14, so there was tons of aid out there. I went to 4 years of college. I think the total of 4 years, I spent $2,000. So
Wow.
I came out of school with no loans whatsoever. I did have loans for grad school, but they were relatively small compared to what people have loans today.
Gotcha.
So I totally get it. You know, you know, some people my generation say, well, when I was your age, we did this. Yeah, but when I was their age, things were much cheaper, and there
Gotcha.
was also way more support out there for things like education.
Yeah. All right. That makes sense. That's a good counterpoint to it.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just I feel like the older generation is just willing to work. I feel like they have a better work ethic.
Well, I don't know if I mean, I think I used to have a really good work ethic. Now, as I get older, I'm like, you know what? I want to enjoy my life more. I'm not going to work myself to death anymore.
Yeah, but at this point, you've earned it. You
No,
put in time.
that's exactly my philosophy. Whenever I think that maybe I'm kind of being lazy this week, I think to myself, I used to get up at like 5:30 in the morning for practice, and then I might have a couple hours off in the afternoon to go work out and grab some food, and I would be at the pool till like 8, sometimes 9 o'clock at night. And
Jesus.
then I worked almost every Saturday. There might be a couple months of the year where I'd have to work Saturdays. A lot of times I'd be out of town on Sundays at a swim meet or a water polo competition. So I mean, I might a typical month I might get like 2 days off that month. So when I'm sitting around, kind of bored, being lazy now, I'm like, screw it, I don't care. I deserve it.
So porn is the only thing you do now.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. I mean, I
Wow.
do. I write on the side, but I don't really make much money doing that. So that's more like just I do for fun.
Okay.
I like to make money doing it, but
I'm wondering what how do I want to say this? When you first started, doing OnlyFans and whatever, what did you think porn was going to be versus what it actually is? Like, where was the difference for you?
I don't even know what I expected because, to be honest, it's weird, but I really didn't watch a lot of porn. I watched porn like when I was younger, so I knew porn stars from the '80s, maybe the '90s. I mean, my favorite porn star was Matthew Rush, and I ended up meeting him at a bar in, I think it was Columbus, Ohio, because I think he lived in Columbus. And real nice guy. I just said hi to him really briefly, whatever. But I had no concept of what porn would be like. I really had no idea. I went into it totally like whatever.
Okay.
Yeah.
You had no preconceived notions of,
No, I
you know,
didn't have any idea at all what it'd be like. So,
wow.
I mean, the one surprise was I was surprised how long shoots took. I, I guess I thought you would do a porn shoot and you're there for a couple hours because how long can you fuck? Well, no, you could be there for 6, 8, 10 hours.
Yeah. So, has doing porn, like, okay, as an adult, do you watch porn now? Or did you start watching it? Like,
No, I mean, the only thing I'll watch is I'll watch people that I know. I'll watch Twitter stuff, but I don't usually watch anything more than a couple minutes, and it's usually something maybe like maybe to get an idea of, oh, maybe I should try something like that, or that gives me that's an interesting idea. But I'm not. I don't really do that a whole lot. The only porn I like to watch is my boyfriend's. So I love
really?
to watch videos. I love to watch videos of my boyfriend
Okay.
because to me he's the hottest guy in the world. So
So, when you masturbate, what are you watching? His porn?
yeah, he is.
Really?
Yeah, he's
So
the
your
hottest guy in the world. So yeah.
so your boyfriend's also a porn star.
No. He does a little bit of just for fans on the side, more
Uh,
like as a diversion than anything else. And he just started doing that maybe a year ago. So
oh,
yeah, he has a real job.
okay. How did you two meet?
We actually met at a bathhouse. Yeah.
Seriously?
Oh yeah. I mean,
What
it's
the
funny
fuck?
because
Okay.
you tell straight people this. Like my first boyfriend, like my first two boyfriends, I think I met at a gay bar. One boyfriend I met at a gay beach. One I met on Scruff, and then the latest one I met at a bathhouse. But it's like, where am I going to meet? I mean, now in LA, I guess you could do this, but where I used to live before, you're not going to meet him at the supermarket. You know, you're not going to meet him at work. So where else are you going to meet him? So
Okay, that's a good question. Like, okay, walk me through how the fuck meeting at a bathhouse culminates in a relationship, though, because that's the first time I've
yeah.
ever heard that one.
Okay. I went to the bathhouse, and I mainly went to the bathhouse because I wanted to hang out by the pool and get some sun naked. That was the main reason to go. So I was there for a couple hours, and I thought, well, before I leave, I'll just kind of make a walk around through whatever, right? And I made a couple rounds through, and there was like really no one interesting that I was, interested in until he walked in. And I mean, my jaw probably dropped because he was so gorgeous. And this is how I think, by the way, maybe because I'm introverted. I generally don't approach people. I wait to see if they approach me. If I approach them and they reject me, then it's like I got to deal with a rejection. But if they approach me, then I'm like, at least we've crossed that first barrier. At least they're interested in me. So he came up to me, and I mean, I'm trying to remember exactly how it happened. I'm sure he grabbed my dick because that's kind of his signature move. And so we just hit it off. We had some fun at the bathhouse that day, and before we left, he asked for my number, and we stayed in contact. And I mean, yeah. So I guess I'm always surprised when someone is interested in me. So yeah,
What?
I don't know. I probably could insecurity maybe. I don't know. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
No, I'm asking because as you're describing yourself in this situation, you're also describing me, so I'm genuinely curious.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. So you said two came from a gay bar. Okay, I can understand that. Nude beach. Yeah, I can understand that. I was. You never met anyone at the gym though.
I've met people at the gym, but never turned into a relationship. So yeah, I don't know.
Okay. All right. How long have you guys been together for?
2.5 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I definitely have long relationships, like 4 years, 6 years. This one's 2.5. So
Okay.
yeah, I think the shortest one was maybe a year. So
So you were doing porn then when you guys met,
yeah.
and I have to ask because it causes so many relationship problems for so many people I interview. How is your job affected that, if at all?
Um, oh, not at all. Because I mean, he's like the perfect like person for me. In that he's very open sexually, has no hang-ups at all. He's
Mhm.
very sexually free, and so I mean, yeah, we love to watch each other fuck other people. We, like to, I love when he tells me stories of guys he's fucked. It's
Okay.
like, yeah. So it's like, to me, it's like it's what he enjoys, what he's having fun doing. Why would I restrict that for him? I know it seems kind of trite, but it's like if I was in a relationship with someone and said, okay, from now on, you can only have lunch or dinner with me. You can never have lunch or dinner with anybody else, or you can never go to a movie with anybody else, or you can never go to, I mean, why? It's like I'm not insecure about that, you know.
Oh. No, I agree with you. I just feel like most people, like the trend I've noticed with the majority of people I've interviewed is they'll meet someone, start dating, their partner's okay with it to, at the beginning, but then fast forward 3 6 months, then all of a sudden the jealousy and the insecurity and all the other bullshit starts up. But it
Right.
doesn't sound like that's an issue.
He has zero insecurity. He's a very confident man, and nope, not at all.
Okay. Is he older or younger than you?
He's younger.
Like a lot younger?
Um, I don't know, maybe 15, 20 years.
Oh, okay. All right.
No, probably 15 years.
So I'm curious, how do you feel about the whole daddy thing?
I actually think it's annoying. Only because I don't think it means anything anymore. I mean, you have 20 somethings being called daddy. And I understand it's more of an attitude type thing. But if it's an attitude type thing, how do people who have no idea what you're like call you daddy just based on your appearance? And the other reason I don't like it is because when I do porn, studio porn, I'm pigeonholed. It's almost like Vincent Price has to play the villain. I gotta play the daddy.
Yeah.
And it gets a little boring after a while. I mean, I don't mind doing it. So when someone contacts me for like a Just for Fans shoot, another performer, and says, "Do you want to do like age play stuff, daddy son?" And I'm like, "No, I do that all the time. Can we just fuck regularly? you know? Does it have to have an age dynamic to it?" So, and I think part of the thing is I don't even see myself as a certain age. I see myself the way I can like perform in the gym, for example. And if I'm performing in the gym the same way I was when I was in my 20s and 30s, then what does it matter what my birth certificate says? So I never think about age really.
Okay. No, those are all valid points. Yeah, no, calling someone in their 20s daddy, yeah, I'm gonna agree with
Yeah,
you.
it's
No.
it's almost like it's taken the meaning away from the word.
Okay, so for you, what would the prerequisites be for someone being a daddy? Do you think?
I really, to be honest, now I don't even know. I mean, I guess it would have to be someone who's older than you,
Yeah,
someone who's more like an alpha, maybe. I don't
yeah.
know. And I don't really consider myself an alpha in the way some people see an alpha. You know. So
Minimum age?
what's that?
Minimum age? Do you think?
40 maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
No,
The other thing too is a lot of daddies. I guess my concept is when I think of a daddy, I think of a guy with like a beard, for example.
yeah.
I don't know why, but it just seems like that's like the stereotype maybe. So I don't have a beard. I look terrible in a beard. By the way, when I was younger, I looked really hot in a beard. But now it comes in like 3 or 4 different colors. So I look homeless.
I'm gonna respectfully disagree with you there.
Well, yeah,
I
I just
don't think I've ever seen a beard look bad on anyone.
I don't like myself in a beard.
Okay, if you're watching this video, please let us know in the
Yeah.
comments.
Let me know.
Do you think Matthew would look good with the beard or not? Because I'm genuinely curious. I think you would pull it off.
Well, like I said, when I was younger, I looked hot in a beard. Yeah,
Okay.
but it came in nice dark brown. It was like really full, and yeah. So
All right. So one thing you said that I definitely feel your pain on is the getting pigeonholed
hmm
when it comes to studio stuff. Because my appearance, I always get pigeonholed in like the ultra alpha, dom, borderline sadistic shit. So if you weren't pigeonholed into that, what would you like to shoot? Do you have it?
um, no, I don't think I really do have an idea. I guess I would like to be like. I see myself as kind of like the protective type, but not in a daddy way, you know. But like even if you were older than me or younger than me, I'd be the one who would want to protect you. So, but yeah, I don't really have. This is the funny thing. Remember, Cage Jock told me, "Don't do studio porn until you have a brand." Probably to this day, I still don't have a brand.
So what, like when
I,
you're
I,
shooting?
do you know Jeremy Feist?
It doesn't sound familiar.
Yeah, he's former. And he works for Just for Fans out of Toronto, and a friend of mine. And I think he called himself one time a gay porn character actor. And I see myself more as that. I'm not the leading guy. I'm like the character actor. I'll play any role.
Okay. What do you enjoy the most though? Like when you're shooting your own content?
Oh, when I'm shooting my own content,
Yeah.
um, hmm. I mean, I don't have a type.
Yeah.
I don't have. I mean, there's certain people I'm attracted to, but I can't tell you what it's going to be because it's more of a feel type thing.
Yeah.
It's not an appearance thing. It's nothing like that. Um, yeah, I guess I just like to be more like a. I want to make. I'm like a more of a nurturing guy in the sense that I want the other guy to have an awesome time. I want the other guy to feel really good.
Okay.
So that's how my porn works out. So whenever I'm shooting with someone, I kind of defer to how they want to do it.
Okay. So very sensual and passionate.
Yes, yeah, that would be a good way to put it. Yeah, and
Okay.
actually, my boyfriend is like that too. When he does shoot his only or just for fan stuff, he's more like into the passionate sex, that kind of thing.
Okay.
So,
All right. So
which doesn't
kissing.
mean which doesn't mean it can't be dirty and piggy because yeah.
I'm curious, what is sex like? How is it different for you with your boyfriend off camera versus on camera? Is there a difference or not?
No, no. We probably have sex 90% of the time off camera because we're in the moment and it's like we're not going to bother to set a camera up. So, um, yeah, if we set a camera up, it's the same as if we didn't have the camera set up. You know, it's like it's set up and we're not even paying attention to it.
Yeah.
So, and that's why I probably like to watch that the most because when you ask me about watching porn, the one porn that I would watch if I watched porn was usually amateur stuff
Yeah.
because it seems more real to me. You know,
Yeah.
even before I did porn, studio porn, I knew how contrived it was. You know, I didn't know how contrived it was. You know, since then I've realized, okay, it's and I don't want to give away any like
Yeah.
industry secrets and stuff, but it's like, you know, what you see is not what you are really, what you're getting is not what you're really seeing. I guess is the way to put it. But like I would watch stuff on whether it be Tumblr or wherever I'd watch it, and it would be like some guy who sets a phone up in like a bookshelf,
Yeah.
gets on all fours and waits for some guy to come by in his house and fuck him and leave. That to me is hot because it's like real.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah, no, I've noticed that especially when it comes to like shooting my own content is having all the cameras set up prior.
right, yeah,
Because the second you gotta stop to adjust cameras, I don't care, even if they're two experienced performers, it changes. It doesn't the flow. Yeah.
right, exactly, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I shot with a performer one time. He was a new performer at the time. I don't think he does this anymore. But the first time we shot, he brought over two cameras. I had my camera set up too, and we started. And I think we were just like in the oral sex part, and he stopped and went back to the camera to check the focus or whatever. Right? Okay, fine. Comes back. We continue. 5 minutes later, he stops again, checks the camera. After like the fourth time, I'm like, "Are you going to keep doing this? Because this is not working." So I'm like, just we got four cameras. One of them's gonna get it. It's like,
Yeah. Yeah, no, I feel like I'm curious. I've noticed that though, because like, and a couple other people have commented on it, where when like the fan site started, a lot of people it was more the amateur kind that you were talking about.
yeah,
But now, like a lot of performers are starting to move toward what you just described, where it's constant breaks, constant checking, and it. I don't know. What do you
yeah. I
think?
mean, I think there's two schools of thought, and I think both can be successful. So I don't want to say that one's superior to the other. I mean, you have a friend of mine, Luke Trong, uh,
Yeah,
and we filmed together one time. And, he said he likes to just make it more raw.
yeah,
Just have the camera up and just it doesn't have to be super edited and refined and all that stuff. And that's how he likes it. And then you have other people who, their studio quality, um, their video quality is like a studio, or sometimes even better. They're doing drone footage and underwater footage, and it's beautiful. And I think are both great. I have no
Yeah.
problems with either one. So they're just two ends of the spectrum, I suppose. And I suppose, I mean, that's the nice thing about the Just for Fans, that fan content is there's so much variety. There's so many different people out there with different interests and different likes and different fetishes that there's something for everybody.
Yeah.
In the days of studio porn, when it was just studio porn, here's what you're going to get. You're going to get these white guys, and they're going to look exactly like this. They're going to be they're going to like cult models, or they're going to like whatever. It's all going to be the same, and that's what you're going to get. And then if someone said, well, why don't you get like, an Asian performer or a black performer? Well, they don't want that. Well, how do you know? You never gave it to them. It's like,
Yeah.
so, and the other thing too about studio porn is they always used to say you had to have two of the following three things: a pretty face, a great body, a big dick. You got to have at least two of those three. But with Just for Fans,
Yeah.
other fan content stuff, that's not necessarily true. You have people that don't have any one of those things, but they have a certain fetish or a niche or a quality or a charisma or whatever it is that people like. So who is it for anyone else to say that's not good porn?
Yeah.
If it gets you off, it's good porn.
Yeah. That is so true. So, so true. And really, I mean, it basically allows the fans to vote with their dollars. It's just
Oh yeah,
an
yeah,
open democracy.
yeah. The other thing too is I suppose you could be like really calculated about it and say, okay, this is what's going to be popular, so I'm going to do that. And that's not, I don't do it that way. I'd be richer if I did it that way, maybe, or maybe not, because maybe it would seem inauthentic. But I ultimately got to do what I like to do. I mean, it's the same when I like musical artists. There's a lot of musical artists out there who could make a lot more money if they went more mainstream or did more popular
Yeah.
type stuff. But they do what they like to do. I think of Lou Reed, for example. You know,
Yeah.
Lou Reed was Lou Reed. He did his stuff, and he had a certain niche audience. Probably made a decent living, but he's never going to be, Beyonce or Prince or anyone like that. But he does what he wants to do. So I think not that I consider myself an artist in this sense, but any artist should ultimately make the art for themselves.
Yeah.
And if somebody else likes it, great. That's when I write. You know, I post stuff on my website, um, and maybe 3 people read it. Would I like 1 million people to read it and pay money? Sure, but I write for myself. So
Well, I think you're absolutely right with the authenticity because, I mean, granted, some people it'll go over their head, but I would actually argue the majority of viewers can tell if you're not being authentic.
oh, I think yeah, you can tell. Yeah, okay, because I had uh, when I did that shoot in Atlanta over 4 years ago, I did 3 scenes in a week. I said the first one with Johnny Rappin, the third one with Michael Boston. The second one was a buy scene. And the director said, look, you're here anyway. You're in the hotel. You're here for Atlanta for a week. It's the middle of the week, Wednesday. You want to do a buy scene. Money, obviously. I'm like, okay, sure, I'll do it. And it wasn't me. And this scene came out 4 years ago, and I still have people message me telling me how shitty the scene was because it looked like I wasn't enjoying myself. I'm like, I'm sorry. What am I going to do? It's like I did it once. It wasn't me.
Okay. Yeah. So was that your very first time?
First and only time doing a buy scene. Yeah.
Okay. So never again.
Now I've shot with trans performers, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But it was just the dynamic of the scene. It's me and our one couple, me and my girlfriend, and the guy another girlfriend, and we end up swapping and all that kind of stuff. It just wasn't into it. It was just and I guess that's my failures as an actor to not pull that off.
So I'm curious, what do you attribute your success in this industry to? And what I mean by that is I mean, the fan sites definitely led to like an oversaturation, and there's so many people. There's 100 new OnlyFans popping up every minute. How have you managed to stay successful and relevant? Like, what do you think sets you apart?
Well, I would not say I'm like hugely successful. I mean, I've never won a porn award. Well, I'd say I won a Eden Award, but I don't count that.
Yeah, they don't add to your income, so
No, no, no. But I mean, that's like, but I'm not like super, super famous. I only have like 83,000 followers on Twitter. So, but anyway, I attribute it to this whatever success I've had. I attribute to the same reason I was successful as a swim coach, and that was consistency. And that was just you got to put the work in all the time, and you got to I'm just very consistent. So put content out all the time. Um, I'm always like trying to film with new people, different people, and do different things. And yeah, so I try to be consistent. I don't, sometimes people will say, hey, I'm sorry, I haven't posted anything for a month, but I'm going to get back to posting. And I think, really? Okay, well, maybe you can pull it off if you're like, have a 10-inch dick or something, or but I could never do that. If I didn't post, all the time, I think I would like lose all my subscribers. So.
yeah. No, I agree. And I'm glad you said that because I've always like that's the one thing I preach more than anything else, like in my monologues and shit, is consistency. I believe that's the key to success. I mean, it's what 95% of people aren't. But I'm curious, where do you think you learned that from? Where does that come from?
It probably came from coaching and from training, and also from training too.
Okay.
People ask me, you know, why do I have a good body, or why how can I squat so much or deadlift so much, whatever. And it's because I just been working out consistently for decades. You know, I may take a couple days off here and a couple of days off there, but it's very rare that I would take any more than like 3 or 4 days off in a row. And that'd be maybe if I was traveling for some reason, or if I was sick. So it's just I think consistency. I learned it there too. So. And I used to have people, because like I said, I coach swimming, and I used to have people come up to me and say, what's the key to your success in swimming? And I said, everything. There isn't one thing. It's everything. There's biomechanics, there's physiology, there's psychology of the sport. There's make sure the kids are like trained and also recovering well. There's proper nutrition. There's stretching. There's chiropractic care. There's massage. All that stuff. You got to do everything if you really want to be the best. You can't just think, I'm going to do this one thing and do it really well. So.
Yeah.
So I try to spend a lot of time. I try to do a really good job editing too. I love editing, just because it gives me control over what the final product's going to be. So, and by the way, when I edit, if I shoot a video, this is typical. I shot on Thursday. The video was edited, uploaded, and sent to the other performer with trailers by Saturday. Because I just wanted. That's the way. Now it might. I'm not going to publish it anytime soon. He's probably going to sit on it for a while, but it's there and it's done. So,
Damn. Now you make me look
that's
like
just the way I
shit.
like to do that. What's that?
Said you make me look like shit.
No, I don't think you have to do it, but I just like to do it that way. So yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, I thought I was good about getting, footage to my co-stars, but I can't do turnaround that fast. But then again, I outsource my editing, so I'm dependent upon him to get it back to
Oh,
me.
right, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Wow. How did you teach yourself editing?
I think you can teach yourself anything. With the exception of maybe brain surgery and rocket science, you can teach yourself anything. And I have. I mean, I've taught myself a lot of stuff. And now sometimes I teach myself the wrong way. I remember when I was coaching, when I first started out, there wasn't much computerization in coaching, right? And then these people started writing software for different kind of programs to track swimmers' best times, and then I started writing workouts, using a computer program and tracking like performance and all that stuff. And then when you run meets, the meets are all done electronically because swimming is all the touchpad and electronic timing and everything. And there's all kinds of different like software that can do all kinds of stuff. And your splits for here and how much time you took on the starting block and how much time you took your turn took and all that stuff, right? So I taught all myself this, right? Well, I had an assistant coach who was one of my former swimmers, so he was, maybe 15 years younger than me, 20 years younger. And I remember I was trying to get him to learn how to do this stuff, and I was teaching him some of the computer stuff I did. And I remember he looked at me one time. He goes, "Well, yeah, but couldn't you do it this way instead?" And the way he figured out how to do it was like 10 times faster than the way I was doing it. So that's the problem. You teach yourself, you get it done, but not necessarily the most efficient way.
Yeah, that makes
So I'm sure there's people who probably sit down with my editing and go, you could do it much better if you did it this way. But
okay. I don't know. I think the hardest part, and I'm curious if you have this problem. I think the biggest problem for me, if I were to edit my own content, would be that it would be like an English paper, like when you're in school, where you can revise it 50 times and you can still find shit that's wrong with it, and it's
well,
never
yeah,
perfect. Do you have that issue?
yeah. I don't watch my own porn
Oh,
for that very reason. But I will also agree that I'm too critical of myself.
yeah.
I'll watch myself and I go, oh, why is he making that face? Or why didn't I turn toward the camera? Or why was my hand there when it should have been here? So I'm just too critical of myself. I don't like to watch my own porn. But I mean, I'm not really a perfectionist because I think sometimes if you always seek perfection, you'll never get anything done because it'll never be perfect. Okay, so at some point you gotta say it's really good, and it's done. It's gonna come out, and
Oh,
I could spend another 5 weeks on it and make it that 10% better. But let's just get it done, okay? And then,
yeah.
I mean, you can always. I mean, sometimes I'll go back and I'll re-edit something maybe a year later. Let's say I'm running out of content or something, and I'm like, okay, let's go re-edit this video. I'll use different camera angles, and I'll do it what I think is a better way. I've done that before.
Oh, okay. And how did you? I mean, your physique and lifts are insane. How did you originally get into that?
I started lifting in college. Actually, and I think, and yeah, I think freshman year of college, just because I wanted a better body, right? I mean, I was in the closet. This is kind of funny. I was in the closet, and I loved men's bodies that were muscular. Well, if I was in the closet and I wasn't dating anybody and wasn't hooking up with anybody, I can't touch a hot body. I could touch my own. So I made
Oh,
my own body, the body that I wanted to be with other people on. So that's kind of how it started. But then I think once you get into fitness like that, if you're the type of person that I am who really enjoys it, I mean, different people do different things. Like I had a boyfriend who his exercise was he wants to dance. That was his exercise.
yeah,
He would hate going to the gym, but he would just dance instead. So you got to find what you like to do.
yeah.
But for me, I loved it, and I just kept challenging myself to get better and better and better at it. And there's where I don't listen to my own advice because I had a trainer who asked me if I would want to compete in a bodybuilding contest. And I said, I'd have too many flaws. He goes, you're always going to think that.
Yeah.
If you think you're not perfect, you're never going to go on stage. Well, I never went on stage. Because I mean, we all have body dysmorphia. And I
Yeah.
always look at myself and go, my arms are too small, or I don't like my chest, or that kind of thing. But on the other hand, it keeps me motivated to go to the gym and work out. And now I do CrossFit, which I love. It's just new goals for me. So I love having goals to shoot for. Because otherwise,
Oh,
why get up
agreed, a
in the
thousand
morning?
percent.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so now I'm curious because of something you just said. Was there a certain point, and if you remember exactly when, great. But is there a certain point when you went from like, yeah, I want to be super jacked and muscular and this physique, and then all of a sudden it kind of shifts towards health and fitness as opposed to aesthetics?
No, I think I think that the desire to look hot came first,
Yeah,
and then the health and fitness comes later because you realize if you really want to be successful, you got to eat right, you got to get plenty of sleep, you got to drink a lot of water, you can't drink that type of thing, right?
Yeah.
But I'm still a narcissist. So it's, that hasn't changed. I mean, everyone's got to have some of the seven deadly sins, and I guess I have narcissism and
No, but like as far as like CrossFit, like cardio, like overall health, was there a point where you started prioritizing that?
no, I don't think so. I mean, I think I always have multiple priorities. I'm
Okay.
actually training. I probably have like four goals right now that I'm working toward. So bodybuilding goal, but also there's a competition I want to go to that's a lot of running and cardio stuff. I want to get better at Olympic lifts like snatches and cleans. So yeah, I have a lot of goals that I'm shooting for. So yeah, I don't think one eclipses the other really.
What are your specific goals you're shooting for?
Well, there's a competition in December.
Uh,
Um, that's like it'll probably take me. Hopefully, I'm under 2 hours. So it's just a lot of sled push, wall balls,
oh,
running, all that kind of stuff, right? Well, I saw my boyfriend do it about a year ago, and I'm like, this looks really, really hard. I could never do this.
yeah,
And I mentioned it to a friend of mine, Zach Snow. You know Zach Snow, right?
yeah.
And I said, "Oh, this is awesome. I could never do this." He goes, "You could do that." And I'm like, "Well, if I trained, I could do it." And I thought, "Well, let me see if I can." So that's how that started. So I started doing CrossFit, and I think the snatch is the sexiest exercise there is to do, and it's so technical.
Yeah.
It's like I'm getting better at it, but it's going to take me like 10 years to get really good at it, and so it's challenging me. I love going into the gym and trying to get better at it. And
Yeah.
sometimes you go in and you end up, well, that sucked today, so it makes you want to go back, and do it again later. I still want to, I still think my body can be better. So there's always a body part that I want to get better at. So those are probably the three main ones. And then there's other things in CrossFit that I'd like to be able to learn how to do, like handstand push-ups and that kind of thing. So it just I see something that someone else does, and I'm like, that looks really cool. I want to be able to do that. So
I'm so I think it's an amazing trait. I'm curious if you can articulate it. How do I want to say this? Okay, your average person when they look at something that's difficult, or when they try something, they fall on their face, or whatever. It's real easy to say, "Fuck this, never mind, I'm done." What is it in you that's different where it's like, "Oh shit, this is really hard," or "I just failed miserably"? Now this is like a challenge. I really want to do this. I want to get good at this.
because I coached kids that were 5 and 6 years old up to college age, and I would face this all the time. With kids would come in and say, "I can't do this," and my job was to show them that they could do it. Right? One of my favorite sayings was someone would say, I would want them to do something, and they go, "I can't do this." I'm like, "No, you can't do it today." But I would ask them, I go, "Do you think you'll ever be able to do it?" And they go, "Well, yeah, maybe someday." I go, "Well, then it could be today, right? Or it could be tomorrow. You don't know. How do you know?" And so after telling people this, how do I not listen to my own advice? And by the way, I'm the worst at, I'm sure a lot of people are the same way, but I can give advice much better than accept it.
You know,
And a lot of times my friends will tell me, my boyfriend tells me something, I'll ask him for advice. He goes, "You're not going to listen to me anyway." And I go, "I will eventually." In other words, someone will tell me something, I'll like go, "That's not going to work. That's not going to work." And then I'll think about it, I'll think about it, I'll think about it. And weeks later I'll go, "That's right. I need to do that." So yeah, eventually you'll listen to your own advice. It's kind of like what Winston Churchill said about the U.S. during the Second World War. He goes, "The United States will always do the right thing once it eliminates every other possibility."
you know, I like that. What you just brought something up that I've been talking about a lot lately with my friends. where, anyone, where they could hear, like, let's say, for example, someone's listening to self-help videos, right, or motivational videos, and they can hear the same advice over and over and over and over again. And then one day, for whatever reason, it clicks, and it
Right.
just, what do you think separates that last time from every time before it?
Because they weren't ready. Because there's a line from the Bhagavad Gita that says, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. And so someone will tell you something or show you something and it will click in your head. And maybe it's the same thing people have been telling you for years, but you weren't ready to hear it at that point. But at the point where you finally said, yes, that's what I need to do, or that's the course of action I need to take, you were ready for it at that point. So I would work with kids, and month after month after month, they would not change, they would not improve, or they would not improve the way I wanted to. And I would try to say it in different ways. I would try to show it in different ways. I would try to present it in different ways, hoping that one way would click. And then, one day all of a sudden something will click, and you're like, oh my God, look at what they're doing, And did I say something that day that clicked it? Yeah, probably something in them just changed. I had a kid. This is a funny thing. I had a kid who, great swimmer. He ended up being a state champ, All-American. When he was probably maybe 8th grade, 9th grade, his flip turns were terrible. He was mainly a butterfly, but for freestyle, his flip turns were terrible. And I would tell him his flip turns are terrible. I'd videotape him. I go, "This is what you're doing, right?" He wouldn't believe. No, they're not that bad. They're not that bad, right? So this went on for a couple of years, right? So finally, his sophomore year, he goes to a swim meet. Butterfly is really good, but his freestyle's doesn't hit his goals. His dad videotapes him and shows him the videotape. He comes into me on Monday, the following after the weekend, and goes, "Hey, I just figured out what I'm doing wrong." And I'm like, "What?" He goes, "My flip turns need work." And I'm like, "No." But I mean, he was finally ready to hear it.
All right. How does someone get themselves ready to hear it?
I
Let's say, someone's just bad at relationships or bad at whatever. How do they get themselves to a point where they're ready to hear it?
that I don't really know. Other than sometimes, again, it's like if you've exhausted every other alternative, um, and it's almost it's like I bring it back to swimming because I just did it for so long, and for coaching, and I would get kids sometimes they would try too hard, and you can try too hard at something and you're just not you're too tight. You're like in other words, you're trying not to lose. You're not trying to win. You're trying not to lose, and you're so tense. You just can't succeed, right? And after these are kids who would hit faster times in practice than they would at the meet because of the pressure. And they'll get to a point where they just get so frustrated they go, "Fuck it, I don't care anymore." That's when they'll hit their best time because they finally let go of all this stuff. And they said, "You know what? I don't care. I'm just going to go and do what I have to do." That's when they hit their best times.
Okay, say that again, the very first part. They're not trying to win, they're just trying not to
They're
lose.
trying not to lose. They're just too tense about stuff. They're just too. They're fear of failing, and they're just trying too hard to do something.
Okay, for whatever reason, when you said that, it just clicked with me. Because one complaint I have is when bottoms are too tight. Have you ever been with someone they just can't open up at all? And it's like they're trying too hard and it's like
I've been with some bottoms who, yeah, it's not comfortable to fuck them, and I suppose that's maybe the reason.
it's like
Um,
it's a vice grip. And I feel like that advice could easily apply.
Um, it could apply to a lot of things. I mean, it's like yeah, if you're just trying too hard at something, sometimes you just got to relax and just. I never liked the Nike phrase "just do it." I like the phrase "just let it happen." In other words, if you put the training in, when it comes time to race day, Now you've already done the work. It's either there or it isn't there. Just let it happen. Let your body do what's able to do. There's a theory called psychocybernetics, which is that your body is like a computer. You program it. In other words, if I threw you a set of keys, you would grab the set of keys, right?
Uh,
Because you know from experience, grabbing a set of keys, you know how much they weigh, you know how to handle it, right?
uh,
But if I told you, and I've done this to kids, I say, okay, I throw them a set of keys, and I say, grab them, they grab them, no problem, right? I say, okay, now I'm going to throw you this set of keys. Do not drop these keys. Whatever you do, don't drop these keys.
and
This is
then
good. Do not drop these keys. Throw them to them, they'll drop them almost every time because they're trying to. Otherwise, don't think about it. You've done it a million times. Just do it again. I had a time one time I was lifeguarding, and I was sitting on my chair, and it was a busy day. It was at the beach, and there was like a beach towel here, and a big beach umbrella here, and a big family laid out there, and all this stuff in front of my chair. Right? I don't know why we let that happen, but we let it happen. Right? And so I didn't have a clear path to the water if I needed to run to the water. And I'm actually sitting in the chair thinking, if I need to run to the water to get somebody, how am I going to do it? Right? Sure, as luck would have it, sure enough, maybe a couple hours later, some little kid flops down in the water, and I have to run down and pick him up. I run to the beach, pick him out of the water, he's fine, right? I look back, there was a footprint here, a footprint there, a footprint there. I'm like, how the fuck did I do that? Well, I wasn't thinking about it, I just did
damn, that's some really insightful shit.
it.
Now, like, I'm just going through this in my head, and like what you said about the keys, that's gonna like rattle around in my brain for like the next week.
Try it with someone, yeah.
No, you're absolutely right, because a lot of people, they get wrapped up in their own head, and they just, you know, it's. I had an ex who couldn't take pain pills because if they did, they would just end up like violently throwing up. And I felt like it was because they couldn't just let their body relax and feel what it was going to feel. They just tried to like frantically hold on. And then I'm just like, okay, your fucking tooth is going to keep hurting unless you just relax. Like, what the fuck? Wow. Any other insightful life lessons, coach?
I sound like the Maharishi today, right? That's the problem when you coach is you learn all this shit. So it's like,
No, I find this stuff fascinating. I think I love shit like this. Is there anything else, like any other big life lessons you felt like you took away from it?
I suppose one interesting thing is how I end up leaving my other job and just doing porn full time. I had wanted to quit swimming for a while, just because I had done it for so long. I thought I need new challenges, right? I didn't know what I wanted to do, you know. And finally, I thought, well, I could do porn. I wasn't sure, so I thought about quitting and just doing porn full time. And I actually went to my assistant coach and said, hey, look, I'm going to resign, I think, in October. By the way, by this time I had done a couple studio scenes, and I'm like, you know what, they're going to come out. Someone's going to find out, and I'm
Um,
going to get. So I'm going to resign in October. I told him that, and he goes, oh, no, 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 don't. I go, no, you're fine. You can take over. You've been my assistant for like 10 years. You can do a good job. I'll help you on the sidelines. If you, oh, no, no, no. Just stick this year out. Finish this year. I'm not ready yet. And it's finally, okay, fine, I'll finish the year. And I had like about maybe 6 weeks left of the season. And they found one of my porn videos. And it was the same week. In fact, the day they called me on the phone, I was in the hospital because my mother was dying. And I remember them saying, and I knew, they didn't say what they were calling about, but I knew what they were calling about. And they go, you need to come in the office for a meeting. And I'm like, I can't. I'm in the hospital and my mother's dying. And they're like, oh, well, okay, well, sorry, we'll talk later, right? And a couple days later, she died, and I resigned the same day.
did you even go in and have the conversation?
What was the point? So, But it was kind of like, you know, you're never going to know what else is out there unless you give up what you had before. Right? So just give. There's a saying that, and I'm not sure if this is true. It doesn't sound true, but it makes a nice story. That whenever the Vikings invaded a new country, a new land, they burnt the ships.
Yeah, that actually comes from Cortez. He did that when he came
Okay,
over.
okay, maybe that's what it's from. Okay,
Yeah.
in other words, we have to make it here. We've
Yep.
we've eliminated any opportunity to leave.
Yep.
So I think sometimes you need to do that.
Yeah, and that's scary though, because yeah, like one of my best fans that I have, she just did that. Like she basically resigned from being a teacher and it was like, I'm gonna be a writer,
Yeah.
and it's like your parachute's gone, so now
Oh yeah.
your only choice is to succeed.
But I mean, they always say on your deathbed, you don't regret the things you did. You regret the things you didn't do. So, by the way, I'm the happiest I've ever been. So I'm so happy that I did what I did. I'm so happy that I finally moved out here. You know, I met the most wonderful boyfriend in the world that I wouldn't have met if I hadn't come out here. So, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Has there been any negatives to you doing porn other than the phone call?
Um, no, I mean, there's negatives in everything, but I mean, that's I don't. That doesn't bother me. I
Okay.
had. I tell you, one of the positive things I took out of it was when I had my mom's funeral that weekend, that Friday. Right. By the way, the newspapers had a field day with my whole thing too, because it's a small town and nothing ever happens there. It's like this was better than the barn fire in the countryside. This was this it eclipsed the adopt a pet sketch, which was a staple of the local news,
Yeah.
right? And so I didn't watch it, but of course people would come up to me and say, what about this or whatever, right? And I would just go, my mom died this week, and I would just shut him off. So I had to go to the funeral on Friday, and I'm like, shit, I don't want any of like the parents of my kids to come, or I thought, can we just do a closed funeral, just family members? And my brother's like, no, I'm like, so fine. Most of the people at the funeral were my former swimmers and their parents, and they were all supportive.
That's awesome.
I had two of my favorite swimmers who were all Americans. They were state champions. Came up to me and they asked me how I was doing. Are you okay? Are you okay? And I go, I'm pretty tough. I can do this. I'm fine. So,
So, was it doing porn or is it doing porn and being gay?
oh, the being gay wasn't a thing because they knew I was gay.
Oh, okay. All right.
That wasn't a deal.
Okay. So it's just the porn thing.
Yeah, they didn't care if I was gay.
Oh,
A
okay.
lot of swimmers are gay too. A lot of divers are gay. So it's like it's.
Gotcha. So, what what does the future look like for you?
I have no idea. That's what makes it more interesting, I don't really don't know what's going to happen. So I just want to I live in the now. Obviously you have to plan for the future. You got to save money. You got to like have goals and that kind of thing. But I don't care about the past and I don't care about the future that much. I mean, I don't try to like say this has to happen in the future because invariably something's going to happen. You're going to get disappointed.
Yeah.
So I live from day to day, and I want to be surprised what's going to happen.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I just want to be healthy. That's all I care about. I just want to be healthy.
Okay. So no, there's nothing on your bucket list per se.
Oh, I mean, I've actually written one novel, but it never got published. But it kind of had like a limited. I remember I sent it to I sent it to a lot of agents. And weren't interested. I had a friend of mine who was actually a vice president of Penguin Putnam Books at the time, and I sent it to him, and he read it. And he was really nice about it. He goes, it's good. He goes, but it has a small audience. No one's ever going to want to read it. So my goal is to write something that has maybe a bigger audience that actually would get published, and make some money. So, and I'm work on that. I work on that off and on. So, yeah.
Okay.
So that's one thing I'd like to do. So um, yeah. Other than my training goals and that type of thing. So
Yeah.
and travel more because when I was coaching, I never had time to travel hardly at all.
Yeah.
I mean, I traveled a lot, like in the shittiest places imaginable. Wherever the junior nationals was being held or whatever.
All right. So you didn't get to go anywhere fun.
I went to Spain in June, so yeah.
Wow.
But there's like so many other places I want to go. So,
Okay.
but
That's
it's
good.
a matter of affording it too. So.
It sounds like you've lived a very, very full life and you really don't have too many regrets.
Oh, I don't know if I've lived a full life because there's people who've you know traveled much more than I've have and done more interesting things than I've done. And that's the problem with coaching swimming. It's just so time consuming.
Yeah.
It's just you're just doing that, and almost that's your whole thing you're doing. On the other hand, I don't regret anything because even if something terrible happens, you learn from it. A lot of times something terrible happened to me, and then it would be something that I would help one of my swimmers with or a friend of mine with later on because I kind of knew how to handle it because it had happened to me. So yeah, I have one regret in life, and that's not using sunscreen when I was a lifeguard. Seriously, that's the only regret.
God, if I had $1 for every time I've heard someone say that. Jeez.
And here's the thing: they appealed to my sense of health over my sense of vanity, and they said, if you don't use sunscreen, because I would sit outside for 8 hours a day, 6 days a week in the sun outside, lifeguarding. They said, oh, you get skin cancer, blah 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 blah. And I'm like, I'm not gonna get. I'm 20 years old. I'm not gonna get skin cancer. I'll be fine. If they had said you're gonna age prematurely, that would have worked.
No, I get that. So no skin cancer yet.
No, no.
Okay. All right. Wow. I don't know. I think the thing that impresses me by far the most with you is just your mindset. Like you've got a very positive, optimistic mindset, like always, glasses half full and yeah.
I mean, I really don't have that all the time. You know,
Nobody's perfect.
no. I mean, there's plenty of times when I'm like, thinking the world sucks and everyone sucks and that kind. I get that too. So yeah.
But how do you pull yourself out of that when you're like, fuck humanity?
I think for me, it generally passes in a certain time. Now, there was a time, probably in my mid 30s, where I was probably very, very depressed for probably 2 years.
Oh,
And
wow.
it was a really, really low time in my life. So that was tough. And since then, I get episodes where I'll be really down for maybe a couple days, maybe a week, that kind of thing. But I just usually seem to get out of it. Maybe it's working out. I think having a routine helps.
Yep.
So that even if I feel like shit, I'm gonna get up and I'm gonna go to the gym and I'm gonna eat. I'm gonna do the stuff I need to do. I study Duolingo, so I have certain routines I do. So even if I'm having a shitty day, I'm still going to do those things.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, I can go, okay, at least I accomplished something, you know. And then I give myself a little pat in the back. Okay, you felt like shit. You don't want to do anything, but you did it anyway. Good for you, you know.
Gotcha. Okay, let's see. Got okay. Someone wants to know: does your job affect your workouts?
No, not at all. I mean, because I prioritize my workouts, and I even did that. No, I even did that when I was coaching. If I had to go to a water polo tournament where I'd be on a pool deck from Friday at like 4 o'clock until Saturday at 9 o'clock at night, and then we'd drive back, or maybe we'd stay overnight and come back Sunday morning. I would figure out, okay, here's my schedule of games. Oh, I have an hour and a half between these two games. I was coaching boys and girls. I have an hour and a half between these two games. That's when I'm going to run. I have just enough time to go run and shower and get back to the pool deck in time. Okay, I have I have 45 minutes here. That's enough time for me to hit the school gym. I'll talk. I'm going to talk to the coach ahead of time who's hosting the event. Hey, can I use your school gym? That's enough time for you to go there and do this. And I would schedule all that stuff out. So I would prioritize that. So.
Okay.
Because to me, that's the most important thing. I feel sometimes like, they mess me on Grinder and they'll want to do a hookup, and I'm like, no, I'm going to the gym. Oh, I'll skip the gym. I'm like, what? No. I ain't skipping the gym for you. No, that's not happening.
Oh my God, you sound like me. Yeah, no,
I mean,
I've had so many people like, oh, you can just skip. I'm like, what? It's like
yeah.
blasphemy. Fuck no, dude. Gym's up here. Everything else comes after.
Well, and that's the thing that since you work out, you understand this, but a lot of people don't appreciate this. Is that they think of someone who goes to the gym all the time as a narcissist. And okay, I'll be the first one to admit that I'm kind of a narcissist, but that's not why I go. I go because it's mental health for me.
Mm-hmm.
If I didn't work out, first of all, I would be a bastard. I would go to the store and someone would look at me wrong and I'd like bite their head off.
Yep.
Or I'd go to the bar and someone would bump into me and I'd like want to kill them, right?
Yep.
So it's mental health for me.
Yep.
So if you find mental health by listening to music or reading a book or whatever it is, it's fine. Mine is, and I'm sure yours is too. It's working out.
Oh, and my energy and just self worth will go. It
Yeah,
will
yeah,
capsize if I don't go.
yeah. You feel like, oh, I'm a slug. I didn't do anything today. So
Yeah.
like today I wasn't gonna. I wanted to go to the gym, but my stomach was upset all day. My calf was really cramped up, and I'm like, maybe I'll skip. And I'm like, no, I'm gonna go and see what I can do. I had a great workout.
Yeah.
Once I got there, I had a great workout. You know. So, by the way, this is a secret or a little trick that I tell people. I do it for myself. Sometimes you don't feel like working out, and you're looking at something. I don't want to go to the gym for 45 minutes. Tell yourself, I'm just going to go for 15 minutes. I'm just going to do 15 minutes. Because invariably, what happens was once you warm up, you do 15 minutes. You're like, I'm going to keep going.
Yep.
And you'll end up finishing it.
Agreed.
Just get there.
Yep.
Get there and start. Once you start, then you're fine.
Agreed 1,000%. Okay. Do you need to diet before filming?
That's tough for me because um, if I'm gonna bottom, then I don't want to eat like heavy, obviously.
Yeah.
However, if I don't eat enough, then I get tired and then my dick won't stay hard for after 4 or 5 hours. So it's kind of a balance. So I eat like at least a bare minimum. So, but I don't really try to diet. So
Okay.
plus I don't want to have a bloated stomach. But by the way, this is another reason I like to edit my own videos. If I'm editing a video and I got 3 camera angles, I'm like, no, I don't like my stomach in that one. I gotta use that angle. I can control what's gonna go in.
So, if you have a sizable meal, do you get like that typical bodybuilder distension?
Yeah. So I'm not gonna eat like a huge meal before. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Um, we answered that. Someone says that we better collab.
That'd be fine. Yeah.
I'd definitely be down. Okay. Do you prefer acting as a dom or the sub?
I
Also,
really
you
like.
have the best ass in porn.
I know I don't. No, I don't. Here's the thing about my ass. It's interesting. I think the width of it is nice, but from the profile, it doesn't stick out the way some people's do. Like it's not a Michael Boston or my boyfriend's ass is it's like a shelf, you know. So no, I don't have the best ass in porn, but thank you anyway. Um, yeah, I'm. When I say I'm versed, everyone thinks, oh, you're really a bottom. It's like it just entirely depends on my mood, and the other guy. There's some guys that I see and I go, I want to throw my legs up for that guy.
Yeah.
There's other guys I see him and I go, I want to fuck the shit out of him and and bury my face in his ass. So it just kind of depends what. And then there's some guys I want to do both to. So
Okay.
yeah, but I'm not really a dominant like. Oh yeah, I'm not taking. That's not me.
Again,
In
back
other
to
words, if I'm gonna talk dirty, I'm gonna be the guy that instead of spitting in someone's mouth says spit in my mouth.
okay.
I'm not gonna be the guy that chokes. I'm gonna be the guy that wants to get choked. Even if I'm topping, you can choke me.
Okay. All right. So, for anyone who's watching, where can they find your social media, fan sites, all that good shit?
Okay, everything is Matthew Figata. I make it as easy as possible. Twitter is Matthew Figata. Instagram is Matthew Figata. Just for Fans at Matthew Figata. OnlyFans at Matthew Figata. And then same for my fans.
Okay.
Then also, I think the Raw Fuck Club is their stuff on Raw Fuck.
Okay. And I'm assuming you post the same content on all your fan sites.
Nah, OnlyFans has less just because of their restrictions.
Mm-hmm.
So most of the stuff is going to be on Just for Fans. That's my main site. I love Just for Fans. That's my favorite. Um, um, what's the word I want?
Platform.
Platform. My favorite platform. I mean, it's gay owned and operated. The people that work there are they're members of the porn industry. So yeah, I mean, if I have a problem, I'm having trouble uploading something, or I don't understand some feature, I can text them. I'm going to get an answer back within the hour.
Yeah.
So that's where I spend most of my time. So yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. And how would you summarize your content? Because I interview performers that shoot everything. So if someone's not familiar with your content, how would you describe it? Like
Um,
the tempo, the field. Does that make sense?
again, I would say it's usually passionate.
Oh,
It's real. It's authentic. It's yeah. Probably the best word is passionate. So yeah,
okay.
but it's passionate and still piggy at the same time. It's definitely piggy. So
Passionate but piggy. I love it.
yeah, yeah.
All right.
They're,
Awesome.
they're, they're, they're not diametrically opposed. So
Okay. All right. Well, I had a blast talking to you, Matthew.
I
You
did too. This is awesome. This is a great time.
and definitely your
But you're a great
insight.
interviewer because I never talk this much.
Oh, wait. No, shit. I do have one last question. I ask this to everyone I interview, and everyone's answered the same, so don't fuck it up. All right. This is like my 110th interview so far. So, if you could have sex in only two positions for the rest of your life, what would they be?
Topping or bottoming, or doesn't matter?
You can answer for both.
Um, I'd probably be the same for both. I love, if I'm topping, I love the guy to be face down with his ass up so I can just like pound away. And it's probably the same if I'm bottoming. I like to be face down, facing the pillow, just go to town on me. So yeah.
Second one?
Oh, the second one would probably be missionary, so that the guy can spit in my mouth, or I can, or vice versa, or if I'm topping, so I can see their face. So like the best situation is if you're coming at the same time and you're looking at each other's eyes.
Yes.
And that's a rare thing, but like my boyfriend and I will do that. So
Okay. All right. You
yeah,
didn't screw it
he
up.
he
Everyone
he,
said missionary.
he and I almost always come at the same time, or really close to each other. Yeah.
Okay.
No one said what? What was the?
Everyone has said missionary.
Yeah.
Not
Okay.
one single person has not said missionary. So,
Yeah. Yeah. You gotta have the eye contact, So.
Hey guys, just wanted to say thank you for watching this video, and if you did really enjoy it, I just wanted to mention there are two ways that you can help to support this channel. On the right side, there are three little dots. If you click those, there is a super thanks button, and on the left hand side, there is a join button where you can join this channel. There are 3 different tiers of memberships. The top tier does actually allow one-on-one messaging with me via Discord, and I personally answered that. It is not a service. That's just, both of those are ways that you can help support me as a content creator in this channel. I mention this because YouTube is by far the thing that I enjoy doing the most. It's the thing I'm most passionate about. And unfortunately, a lot of the sexual videos, the porn star confessions, the Dom sub, all that stuff, it is not monetized due to the nature of the videos. But either way, thank you so much for taking the time to watch this. I hope you guys all have an absolutely amazing week. I love you all.